it's Kendra and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how we redid our powder bathroom downstairs. It was functional and done, but we just really didn't like how boring it was, so we decided to make it over. But before we get into this video, make sure you are subscribed to my channel for more videos like these, but let's get right into it. So you may or may have not noticed in the before shot that the walls are textured, but we wanted to put wallpaper on, so we needed to smooth out the walls. So to do this, I'm using some drywall texture and water mixed together to make this concoction that smooths out walls. The actual drywall texture itself is a little bit too thick for this. It just is really difficult to get smooth, so thinning it out with water gives it a great consistency. You want it a lot thicker than paint, so just keep playing around with the ratios until you're good to go. And then I roll it on with a paint roller, like really saturate it. You could even do more than I'm doing right here. And then after you have like a little section, don't do your entire wall with this, just work in little sections, and then use a smoothing knife, I'm forgetting what this is called, to smooth it out. So this, you can get this knife in like the drywall section and just go slow and smooth. It's okay if you have to go over it a few times. And then after all of the walls were done, we let it dry for a few days and then sanded it down, which was a mess.
Just say something.
Say what? Out here sanding, babe. Come back later when it's like filled with smoke. And this won't make sense.
For now, you just look crazy. Weirdo.
Try and keep the dust inside. We did tape some big plastic sheets over the door, and that did help. So yeah, after all of that is sanded, it's time to go in with some wainscoting. We got some thinner trim and cut it down to make rectangles on the walls, and we just nailed it directly onto the wall. And we did about 4 inches between each rectangle to keep it even, and then primed everything, walls and trim, and went in with the color paint. I used Valspar for this, and I really don't know if I recommend it because it took 4 coats of paint to make the walls opaque. Also, side note, we didn't put any wainscoting around the sink, so there wouldn't be any gaps between the sink and the wall for potential leakage. Then we laid all of the tile out on the ground so we could make cuts beforehand, so putting it down would be a lot smoother. And I put Deidre down before, or underneath the tile, because I didn't want to use concrete board. That would just be pretty hard in the space that we had. For whatever reason, my camera did not record this, but I did get this on my phone, so apologies for the vertical video. But I'm using a tile saw here. These are really nice. It just wets the tile so it doesn't break, and we just measured and made all of the cuts, and it was very tedious. But also shout out to Alex because he did do most of the cutting and also the very difficult ones. So here I am just putting the mortar down and the tiles. This was a long process. It was a long night. I mean, I think it really only took about an hour, but being on your knees for an hour was a little difficult, especially because the Deidre is textured. But I did love how this worked out underneath the tile. I've never used this before. I just used concrete board usually, but I loved the Deidre and it was so convenient for the small bathroom. And like I said before, we did lay out everything so we could do the cutting beforehand, but Alex did cut the border tiles as I was laying them, so it would be measured exactly to the bathroom. And we let the tiles sit for about, I think like 2 days, and then we grouted everything. And then it was time for the wallpaper after we could actually walk on the floor. So we did cut these in square sections. I ordered, I believe it was like 10 feet long, and then we did like 2 by 2 feet squares to put in the wallpaper because I didn't want it on the entire wall, especially since I had the wainscoting that we just nicely put in. And I got this wallpaper from Etsy. I will link it down below. I just wanted like a jungle theme because I thought it would fit the green wall really well, and we did get the black background one so it wouldn't clash with the teal. So putting up the wallpaper was actually all right. I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know. It was kind of difficult matching up all of the seams, and also our walls aren't exactly level with like the ceiling, so there was a slight tilt going down, but we did put trim along the ceiling, so it ended up being fine. So I would just recommend with wallpaper going slow, just do it in smaller sections and be patient, which I wasn't the entire time, but it ended up being fine. I think we were just more stressed out about it, honestly, but actually putting it in was decent. And honestly, I think some of the hardest parts were measuring and making sure everything matched. If we had just put these up in the strips that we got them in, I think it would have been a lot easier to do. But you'll see here, we had to measure out the different sections to cut in, especially because the wall wasn't as obviously as long as the wallpaper. So yeah, we had to make sure we measured twice, cut once, as my dad always loves to say. But yeah, we just went slow and did a lot of measuring. Also, for whatever reason, we used a deck of cards to smooth out the wallpaper, but honestly, I think it was nice because it was a little bit softer than like a putty knife would have been. And we wanted the wallpaper to look a little more finished, so we did put trim at the top and bottom, and we used the same trim that we used to make the wainscoting rectangles. We did have to cut it down into some weird sections, so there are like some smaller chunks on one side and like a longer chunk for the rest of the wall, but I did use some caulk to smooth out the transition, so it ended up being fine. And here is everything done. I absolutely love how this bathroom turned out. We got the sink from Home Depot, same with the faucet, and I love the exposed pipes. I think it looks so nice, especially with this deep teal color. Let me know in the comments down below if you like how this bathroom turned out, but thank you so much for watching, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!